Page number, yeah, Joe. Prayer.
To the Buddha, Dharma, and Arya Sangha, I go for refuge until I am enlightened. To the Buddha, Dharma, and Arya Sangha, I go for refuge until I am enlightened. To the Buddha, Dharma, and Arya Sangha, I go for refuge until I am enlightened. By the merit from listening to the Dharma, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of benefiting all mother sentient beings. By the merit from listening to the Dharma, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of benefiting all mother sentient beings. By the merit from listening to the Dharma, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of benefiting all mother sentient beings. Page 11. May all sentient beings achieve extraordinary superior happiness. May all sentient beings be free from the unbearable sea of suffering. May all sentient beings never be parted from the bliss of supreme liberation. May all sentient beings be free of all bias, attachments, and anger to near ones, and aversion to others. Page 12. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offering, actually offered and mentally transformed. I confess all my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until samsara ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate all the virtues of others and myself to the great enlightenment. Page 15, Heart Sutra. Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Para Samgate Bodhi Soha. Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Para Samgate Bodhi Soha. Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Para Samgate Bodhi Soha. Page 26, short mandala. Om Ahum, Om Ahum, Om Ahum. This ground, anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, 4 continents, sun and moon, I offer in visualization as field of Buddhas. May all sentient beings thus enjoy this pure land. Idam Guru Rana Mandala Kam Nayata Yami.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Today we are new topic, yeah. Very famous, topic. We usually call it, short eloquent speech of Jetsongaba. Short eloquent speech of Jetsongaba, Yeah. First I share you a little background, yeah. First we usually say, Buddha, First Tangbo Chanju Chotu, first this actually, the source of this teaching, comes from Buddha's teaching, yeah. Buddha's teaching, yeah. Buddha first, at beginning, Buddha intended, cultivated compassion, yeah. At middle, Buddha accumulated for 3 countless eons, yeah. At end, Buddha enlightened, yeah. After enlightened, Buddha done, yeah. 3 wheels of teaching, Dharma, yeah. 3, After Buddha enlightened, first 15 years, second 15 years, third 15 years, we usually say like divide by, after enlightened Buddha lived 45 years, 3, 15, 15, First 15 Buddha turned the first wheel of Dharma. This is the part of the second wheel of Dharma. Buddha turned, this the part of teaching. Buddha turned at the Rajagiri, second 15 year, These teachings Buddha, after Buddha enlightened, Buddha taught, substituted within the much digital which you could solidin your core minimum memanari you never chance. Yeah, this in Tibetan, and I translate, roughly. Substituted within the much digital chikuni means I found Dharma like, profound. Sub means profound. She means peaceful. Tete means non-elaboration. Vese means clear light. Dumacha means uncomposite. This is the aspect of the emptiness. This is talking. Buddha. Aspect of emptiness. Substitution. Suladenja Kwame means. Unfortunately, nobody cannot understand. Nobody can understand. If I teach, Buddha say, like that, If I teach, nobody can understand. Nobody can understand. Anybody cannot understand, Therefore, I remain in silence in the forest, like that. 49 days Buddha didn't teach, after enlightened, This teaching, that this is the dependent origination, the part of the second Dharma will, part of second Dharma will is include Pranjaparamita Sutra, Buddha taught second period, second 15 years, First 15 years Buddha taught the first Dharma will, Four Noble Truth. Varanasi, This is the Pranjaparamita Sutra Buddha taught Rajgiri, second 15 years, Actually, there are many, different teachings here. This is the main teaching. Then through Buddha taught, then through the many master, interpret, did many things, from like Nagarjuna, so on and so forth. There are many lineage coming, through, past Nagarjuna interpret, Pranjaparamita Sutra, Otherwise, nobody can, and very difficult to understand, to direct to the Sutra. If you go to the direct to the Sutra, very difficult, to understand, Nagarjuna interpret the meaning of the Pranjaparamita Sutra, Then after Nagarjuna, then there are many, disabled one by one come, Then that lastly, the teaching separate to the Tibet, in the 7th century, 7th century, 8th century, so, since 7th century, Dhamma flourished, the Buddhist teaching flourished in Tibet, Later, that many come, lineage, through, one by one, Then later Lama Tsongkhapa came up, Tsongkhapa, Je Tsongkhapa, We usually go in Tibetan, we usually say Je Tsongkhapa. We never say Lama Tsongkhapa. Je Tsongkhapa, we usually say Je Tsongkhapa. Je Tsongkhapa, then he was born in the east, I think southeast, of Tibet, Then he came to central Tibet when he was 16 years, to start, actually he began studying Dharma since childhood, He's something special, person, since childhood, Then since when he was 16 years, according to his guru guide, he traveled to the central Tibet, Then he studied there, Then he became the, very distinguished scholar, Since he is was 32 years, 31, 30 or 31, 32. He composed very famous the commentary of Tanja Paramita Sutra, we should go this text. Lecture sending is a golden rosary, golden rosary, sending, golden mala, like, golden mala, like that. This is very famous book, for the Tanja Paramita Sutra. Then later he wrote many, many texts, When he was 35 years, according the under the guide of the Manjushri Buddha, he went to the retreat, He left for retreat, retreat for remote place, we should go. This is today we saw Valkai Yalung, Vakachilling, Vakachilling, in English translation, Valka Valley, Valka Valley, Valley, Valka Valley, Valka Valley, he lived, with 8 students, disabled, This as disabled, the Manjushri, recommended, you bring these students, these students, got 8 students, Then at the beginning retreat, he's focused on the accumulation merits and the purification, He did, a lot of prostrations, 1,000, 100,000 plus prostrations, or to accumulate a lot of mandala accumulations, for focus on the mainly focus on the accumulated merits, marriage and purification, for understanding, for realized emptiness, Before before he did his reading, he was studying, intellectually, he cannot cut the doubt, about emptiness, still some doubt, something's uncomfortable, the view, some explanation others, by from others, Then himself, retreat, keep retreat, then himself finally, after I think 4 or 3 years, then he himself realized, emptiness, Then he developed something special or strong, very strong devotion, strong faith to Buddha, Buddha Shakyamuni, Then he wrote this, Actually, he priced it to the Buddha Shakyamuni by his teaching, by the talking the interdependent, about the dependent origination, You taught like this kind of teaching, Then we read this and then we can understand more. Okay. Like that. This teaching, actually, this that this concept of the concept of dependent origination, this is very very important. This is very very profound. We can say the Buddha's teaching, all kind of Buddha's teaching build up on this notion, on this dependent origination. This is the foundation. The things depend on your origination, then everything's come into being, like path, the result, it's possible, Therefore, this is very important. No doubt, we don't think much. We don't think much about this word. Interdependence. Interdependence or dependent origination. That's very important. Think more and more. Like then pray. To the Buddha. To understand the meaning of this. To get the right of meaning of this word. Interdependence. Dependent origination. What meaning?
Are you saying
Interdependent origination.
the same thing as interdependence?
Interdependence. Interdependence. But dependent origination is more. There are dependent originations. There are two syllables. Dependent and origination. That gives two different meanings. We usually say, Tibetan masters say, Tenshi Chinyi means dependent word does not lose the emptiness. Understand? It gives the idea of emptiness. Dependent. Dependent does not lose emptiness. Tenshi Chinyi Jungshin Jigdin Tsuyang Tensu means origination does not lose, come into being. Things come into being. Cause, effect, action, good, bad, big, small, everything, there are two syllables, Dependent, we should think more and more, always you should think, about the word of dependent. It gives you the meaning of the emptiness. Dependent. When you understand, fully that the meaning dependent, this the name, meaning of dependent word. Now we understand that we usually understand, the people, the effect depend on the cause, everybody can say, effect depend on the cause. Everybody can say, that this the meaning of the word, dependent. If you know well, then you can understand. Cause, even cause, also depend on the effect. Even cause also depend on the effect. Now we cannot say. We usually say effect depend on the cause, but cause not depend on the effect. To our perception. When you can understand fully the word of the meaning of this word, then you can get to your perception, to your mind. Even cause also depend on the effect. Then this is quite difficult to understand. You start more in meditation, more. Independent. Independent means not depend on any other. Nothing independent, according to Buddha's teaching. Independent means, and the Buddhist philosopher, the great master, interpret independent means not depend any other.
Maybe emptiness is independent.
No. Emptiness itself also dependent. Everything dependent. Therefore, emptiness is emptiness. Again, nothing absolute.
So you can't say anything affirmative about emptiness.
Formative?
You can never say anything affirmative about emptiness. Emptiness is always a negation. It's like
But past the this better for you the first the first the beginner or not much studied, the emptiness about teaching, you should always think the dependent word, dependent side, think more and more, then get, that's therefore Lama Tsongkhapa the Nagarjuna interpret the meaning of dependent is emptiness. Meaning of emptiness is also either dependent, inclusive. Okay? This is not easy. Yeah, this is no usually, then this teaching is the very, very precious. This word, think more and more. This meditation, most powerful. The most powerful. To accumulate merit. Accumulate merit. Buddha himself taught in his teaching, his sutra, somebody listen with the doubtful to the emptiness teaching can, accumulate than somebody practice generosity, discipline, tolerance for eons. Understand? Somebody listen the teaching of emptiness with the doubtful, even the doubtful, or is not sure, or maybe, or somebody say, just listen, this person can accumulate more merit than somebody practice the generosity, discipline, tolerance for eons. Therefore, somehow we have problem, we are very difficult to believe, but we should believe, The Buddha himself taught, Buddha, there are no reason to cheat us, Yeah, sure. This is the one, this himself, taught in the, if we get the meaning of the dependent origination, the meaning of the origination, if we can get then we can develop easily compassion, love, the dharma practice, everything. Therefore, this is very important word. The world peace comes from understanding this word, For self peace, world peace, community peace, We have problem, the community problems, because we don't know this the meaning of dependent origination, This is, we pray, to the Buddha or Lama Tsongkhapa, Nagarjuna, try to understand, to meditate and to pray them, to understand, the meaning of this, This is very important, Then you yourself really become calm mind, peaceful people, become peaceful person. This is therefore Buddha emphasizes more and more, to talk this teaching, Why? This is the, this is very benefit to the people, Then I'll tell you one story, the power, what is the, the powerful of the emptiness teaching, During the Buddha time, Buddha was there. Buddha was alive, The Manjushri taught somebody inappropriate to listen emptiness teaching. Inappropriate. Or their mind is not refined to listen emptiness teaching. But the Manjushri taught emptiness teaching. This somebody endangered wrong view to the emptiness teaching. After death, they be born in the low hell realm. Understand? Then Shariputra reported to Buddha, Manjushri did mistake today, because inappropriate people he taught the infinite teaching. Buddha taught Manjushri right, no mistake, because the power of infinite listening of the infinite teaching, he remained very short term in hell realm. Very short term. Then to reborn in the human. Then practice the Mayan teaching. Then he sooner achieve the Buddhahood. Otherwise, these people, first become Arahat to the Hinaya, practice Hinayana path. He remain for the long term the meditation, No, cannot enlighten for long term. Just like the deep sleeping, for long term sleeping like that. Manjushri understand. Shariputra cannot understand this. Shariputra says, "Oh, today Manjushri did mistake," like that. Buddha says he's right. He didn't mistake. Manjushri is, he's the knowledge, more, bigger. His omniscience, can see more, than Shariputra. Yeah.
Meritorious actions are not as and misunderstanding, its realization.
Yeah, that's very interconnected to each other. Meritorious. You say accumulated merit? Accumulated merit is very important. Therefore, this is the why Lama Tsongkhapa, Tsongkhapa, people understand emptiness, why he accumulate more merits in the purification. We have problem, cannot understand the meaning of the emptiness or dependent well, because we are not enough the merit now. Also, we are not enough, to purify our activity, Yeah. That the activity to pray or bring prostration, so on and so forth. There are many kind of things, Buddha taught us, for accumulation, This help to understand emptiness, Therefore, Manjushri taught Lama Tsongkhapa about the three factors, the three conducive factors to understand emptiness. First, accumulate merit and purification, and second, more study, more reflect on the text, teaching of the emptiness. Yeah, more study, more reflecting this second factor. Then third, Lama, deity and guru, inseparable. You should, Lama Tsongkhapa, deity Manjushri, meditate separate, inseparable, inseparable oneness.
Is that like tantra?
No. Yeah, we sometimes Lama Tsongkhapa, we pray. We say Lama Tsongkhapa is the emanation of the Manjushri. Oneness, no different entity, just conceptual distinct, but essential, conceptual just distinct, essential entity, same entity, same identification, like that, these three factors, then can actualize the emptiness, Yeah. Therefore, this is very, we, this, always think this word, right, also, many things, we see, today, in the world, very interdependent, interconnected, Oh, yeah. Yeah. Our happiness depend on other,
Our suffering also depends on others, yeah. If we can, this is, that thing more and more in this world, dependent, interdependent, Then get, the meaning of emptiness, Yeah, this is the, therefore, Buddha, before Buddha appeared, there are Sangha schools separate in India, non-Buddhists, especially, including Sangha school, This teaching talk about Atama, self, After Buddha enlightened, Buddha taught selflessness, Therefore, in the community, they're very difficult to transition, to digest selflessness, to understand, Yeah. This is the difference, Then later, now we are really very fortunate, very lucky, because then Nagarjuna, in instance, from Nagarjuna, interpret, selflessness, many being, many great master, many enlightened, by practicing, selflessness, Yeah. Therefore, that this is, actually there are many logical reasoning to improve, emptiness, to establish it, emptiness, many reasonings, many logical reasonings. But dependent origination is the king of logical reasoning. We usually say interpret Rigbe Jebo. Rigbe Jebo means king of logical reasonings. King. This is easily, this word gives us the meaning of emptiness easily. Dependent. Okay? Therefore, we are not enough to think about this word, We are neglecting the meaning of this word, Then many problems come, Okay. Then now we read this book, We read that lot we can get meaning, this Lamazonga Baha. It's beautiful. Therefore we usually says short eloquence, short essence of eloquence, Lamazonga Baha, Jezonga Baha. Short. Long eloquence speech is very beautiful, very famous text, This is His Holiness Dalai Lama asked one Indian great scholar. You say, this text, Jetsongapa's eloquent speech can compare to the another text which is written by great scholar of Nalanda University. He asked it like that. He says Jetsongapa can be top scholar of Nalanda University. This Indian great scholar answered to him, By he understands Tsongapa's knowledge by reading eloquent speech, his text. This is the short one, okay? Yeah, we read this, then we can imprint, to our mind about the teaching of emptiness, Yeah. We read this. Boom. I don't know, translation same or here, this I think same, Sometimes, it's different, some translator to understand the word. Okay. Then read the Bashuk Sos, Namuguru Manzukogayas, Manzukogayam. Homage to my guru, the youthful Manjushri. He said, Jetsongapa and Manjushri like, like the person, to each other in person, Therefore, after he had vision or he realized Manjushri, he always listened to Manjushri, What he has to do, he asked to the Manjushri, you know, what I have to do. I'm blending song for the like that, you know. What I do, you know. What about it, you know? Say asking, you know, always, you know, take permit from the Manjushri, you know, Guru, you know. Therefore, he says first, homage to my Guru, you know, the youthful Manjushri, you know, this homage, yeah, or the salutation, yeah, to the Manjushri, yeah. Then first he said, you know, seeing and speaking of dependent arising. Here, dependent arising, you know, many texts say dependent origination, yeah, arising origination same, yeah, not different, yeah. And he was wisdom supreme, teacher supreme. I bow to him, you know, who knew and taught the all conquering dependent arising, you know. So, you know, in Tibetan say kanshi seshi songayi kendang tempa lana me gyawa dinji dewa jung sikshi tempa de la dus. Yeah, this homage to the Buddha, yeah, Buddha, yeah. Yeah, Buddha, he said kanshi seshi songayi kendang tempa lana me. He taught here. We usually hear problem, you know, many people, you know, without, he said here, Buddha himself, you know, realized it, you know, the meaning of the dependent arising, you know, emptiness, you know. First he realized, then taught, you know, this is talking here. He said, you know, here, wisdom supreme, teacher supreme, you know. Because, you know, this is, you know, he's something special, developed, you know, devotion and, you know, the faith to Buddha, you know, by this teaching, you know, encouraged, you know, it means encouraged, you know, encouraged, Zongaba, you know, by understanding, you know, by this teaching, you know. Then he said, you know, Denjin Devajungs, he proclaimed, you know, Buddha proclaimed his disciples, you know, after he understand fully, you know, the meaning of dependent arising or emptiness, yeah. Stongaba say, you know, first stanza, you know, say like that, you know. Then second, you know, that here, this is, you know, yeah, because why this teaching is so important? Because that's the second stanza explaining, okay? Second stanza says, of the suffering existing in the world, its root is none other than ignorance, okay? The understanding to kill this root, you know, you said is none other than the dependent arising, okay? It's very important, this word, stanza, memorize, really. Then think more and more, you know. Jigde guba chini ba ti za mari de kanshi tewe tendok ba tenji dewa jiwa songs. That, you know, that in the world, you know, there are many problems, you know. You know, in the world, many problems. The source of the problem, the root of the problem is the ignorance. Say, no, here zonga ba, the ignorance. You know, that this is why, you know, understand why dependent teaching of dependent arising is so important. This ignorance is not mere knowing the reality, you know, not knowing, no, not mere knowing the reality, you know. This ignorance is the, you know, the thought, you know, the mind grasp, you know, the things, you know, inherently, independently. This is the ignorance here. Ignorance refers to this, you know, the, you know, the mind grasps the things independently or inherently, intrinsically, you know. Yeah, here ignorance referred to the mind which grasping the things independently or inherently, intrinsically. This we check to our mind. This is naturally come to us. You know, when we feel, sometimes we are hungry, we are pleasure, we are get anger, When we are get anger, we are something absolute feel here. Self something absolute here, we feel here, Yeah, if you after the anger goes or pleasure goes, you slowly you think on it, perception, not like that, Understand? Yeah, then dependent more your thing, you should think, ourself. Now your tree, so you should think of your tree. Why is the tree? When you get hungry or sometimes you get some great pleasure, sometimes you feel tree here something absolute. You don't feel tree dependent, you are aggregates, You are sometimes you feel you are separate from your aggregate, Understand? We feel,
So with an appreciation of emptiness, it really helps with the pulling problem of dealing with emotions. So it's, you realize they're not absolute. The emotions are not.
Well, they're temporary.
Well, everything's temporary, but we think of them because we're all our thinking is conceptual thinking, which means we always substantialize something, turn it into something.
Yeah, something solid, yeah.
Something
Something
solid.
consecrated, we feel like that,
That's what I said. It's a rigid inflexibility. You have an experience and you think this is what it is, and it's always going to be like that. And it's not. It goes away after a little while. Whether you eat something or time passes or whatever, everything changes, right? It changes and it morphs and it grows. It's never solid forever, right?
Yeah,
So
I
that's
mean,
that's the ignorance.
After this feeling, after it following the ignorance, then ignorance the grasping, because we have this ignorance, then we feel like that kind of things, something absolute. When you get somebody, when you get somebody make problem you, when you see he or her, something, you see something solid in there, Actually, as you feel, the reality things does not exist as you feel, Yeah, this is not case, but our mind, the ignorance project, ignorant project, Yeah, project. Yeah, this is the comes because the ignorance. Yeah, when you understand self, self is depend, the pub aggregates. Ourself, ourself, our I, our I exists with our pub aggregate, we feel something, sometimes we separate, our I separate from our pub aggregate, substantially, This make problem. This is there. Therefore, this is not easy to understand. Very difficult. The more meditation. But this is to understand, to get the the meaning of it. First we think more and more dependent word. The word of dependent. The meaning of dependent. Dependent, depend. Depend others. Yeah, here say, you know, jidi goba chin bitiza maribas. Kanshi towe tendokba danger to one. Therefore means understanding empty understanding the meaning of dependent origination or emptiness, we can cut the root of the suffering, you know, root of the problem, you know, in the world, you know. He say here, Lam Tsongkhapa, you know. By understanding emptiness, by understanding the meaning of dependent word, we can eliminate ignorance. You know, if we can eliminate ignorance, then it lead all conceptual thought. Ignorance lead conceptual thought, you know. You know, we have many, you know, many different thoughts, you know, conceptual, you know, superimpose, exaggeration, you know. There are things also, many negative thought, you know, many thought, you know, there. This ignorance produce this, you know. Then this, when we have this exaggeration or superimpose, it leads then anger, attachment, jealousy, you know, greedy, all of this, you know, then come. Root, trunk, branch, leaves, like that, you know. Ignorance is the root, you know.
I'm very angry with someone. If I'm very angry with someone, I'm angry with them because they did something to me.
Mm.
So what would the answer? In other words, what would this say to me? I'm really angry with someone.
Mm-hmm.
How would this solve this anger?
Mm-hmm. Then
What would I say to myself, or what would someone say to me
mm-hmm.
to try to solve that anger?
Mm-hmm.
Ask me why I'm angry.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes I'm thinking when I'm angry, I'm always angry that somebody's done something to me.
Mm-hmm.
So how would this solve that? What would I say to myself?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Then you should think first, you know. Are you be a part of the cause his anger? You should think first. Maybe you can produce some cause and condition, you know. He get anger to you, yeah. You are part of cause of his anger, you know. Definitely. Why everybody is not get anger to you, yeah? Yeah? Some specific person get anger to you, yeah? Maybe you produce some factor or cause and condition, you know. Yeah. You contribute, you know. I mean, maybe you make some mistake, for maybe you make his or her unhappy. Okay?
So I'm angry with them because they have done something to me.
Yeah. This past we should think, you know. This is a benefit, you know.
So how did I cause this and how was it caused?
Yeah.
How did it?
Maybe, yeah. Oh, you should think for yourself, you know. What I did mistake for him, you know, or, you know, for someone, that person, you know. What I did, you know, mistake, you know.
From anger to feeling guilty or something. I don't know, or remorseful.
Yeah. This is, yeah.
That's what brought it about. It wasn't this brought it about.
This is, you know, sometimes, this maybe, you know, maybe you did some mistake for him or her, or maybe he misunderstood, you know, what you did, you know. Therefore, sometimes you have to clarification, you know, something, you know, some misunderstanding. If there is some misunderstanding, you know, between this person and you know, some misunderstanding, you know, then you have responsibility to make clarify, you know, to make clean, you know, this is the thing, you know. Then also there are many things, you know, to think, you know. So, maybe, you know, sometimes he is not happy, you know, sometimes he has some problem, you know, mental problem, depression or stress, you know, anxiety, you know, that kind of, that moment, you know, people very easy to get anger, you know. Yeah, this is another way, to subdue your anger,
I know another way that helps with anger, if sometimes you may be angry because this person didn't give you what you wanted. You didn't get something from them that you wanted, and then you realize, oh, it's my ego is like offended. I didn't get what I want.
it's
So
always-
you realize how self.
No, it always has to do with you did something to me. There's no question about that. If you really want to analyze anger, why did you do this to me? So it is really very much involved with why did you do this? And then, so to break that anger, what's the answer to that? Is it
But what about when you're angry at someone that didn't really, you didn't do anything?
well, there's that too.
Like, say you're angry with someone you don't really know.
Oh,
You've never
oh.
met the person.
We do
but
that all
they're
the time.
doing things
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you feel are so offensive, and you're so angry at that person, and you couldn't have done anything because you never met the person.
Oh, there's that too. Well, our politics.
Exactly.
It's our politics today.
So you have this idea about something that's making you angry. And you say, I didn't do anything, but you still have this idea about this person.
That their decisions are hurting people, and that offends me and makes me angry.
Right. How do you deal with
Well, what good is the anger? though?
what used to be
Why-
called righteous anger, right?
Yeah.
There's this expression called righteous anger,
Yeah.
where we argue that you have a right to be angry, but it's so egregious what's being done.
If you're not angry, then nothing happens. And then, I mean, one
Yeah.
issue
No,
I
no.
see with this is that if the other person isn't on the same level, so say it's just difficult if only one person is thinking this way.
It involves living in a whole culture that thinks.
Exactly. If the whole culture feels like that, yeah, it's simple, easy peasy. But when some people feel this way and other people feel a very different way, this is what makes us want to stay on the surface and not fully go there.
It's a problem of a multicultural, multi-religious society that we live in now. Not everybody's following the same rules.
No.
Or the same logic even.
You can have differences, but then maybe if you think of ethical conduct, what is
Yeah.
You can have differences and that's okay, but if something, go to ethics, if it's unethical, well, being angry doesn't do any good though.
Wait a sec, I get confused with ethics and morals. Can you remind me of the difference again? I know I'll look it up quick as light.
Ethical
Ethics and morals, I get confused.
conduct,
Which one is?
ethic is conduct, ethical conduct.
Yeah, same. Moral and ethics, yeah, same meaning, yeah. Yeah, this is also, if somebody get anger to you, it doesn't matter, let it go, But important for you, how to react, this is important, if you respond somewhere, increase anger, Anger cannot reduce anger, Understand? You yourself to practice patience. You should see this is something good opportunity, to practice patience, This is important, You cannot control any other, They are going their own way, You cannot, Important for yourself, how to respond, If you same response, you cannot sleep well at night. You cannot good taste your food. Even you destroy your immune system of your body. Instead of anger, you develop compassion. Maybe this is ignorance. Maybe he has some problem. You develop anger. Develop compassion. Instead of the response positive way. You are more peaceful. calm. This is what you want, yeah? If he is to get anger to me, I try to respond somewhere, then you cannot sleep at night well. You cannot eat well. You cannot practice your dharma well, Yeah, this is important, Others doesn't matter, Yeah. Also, according to Buddha's teaching says, somebody get anger to you or somebody disturb to you, this is created your negative karma. You accumulated some negative specific karma to get some problem by somebody. Understand? Yeah, Buddhist teaching also explain like that. Because means you created the cause and condition. Yeah. Yeah. This is, do you have the Shangdi Deva book, chapter number 6, you should read. Chapter number 6, okay? The way of the Sadhavala. You can learn more how to challenge the anger. That is very good. If you bring one book here, we have more, many books, this book, When you have time you read this book at home, yeah? Very good. It helps you a lot, That finished, The time finished. Okay. Therefore, as here I say, this is we have to think more, reflect in the word of dependent origination. Okay, more and more meditation on this word. It help a lot us. Yeah. If we can get the meaning of this word, really we can easily develop our compassion, a love, practice dharma, respect dharma. Okay, this is very important. This word, to understand the meaning of this word. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Now finish time.
Page 38, dedication of merits. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of Guru Buddha, that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their sufferings. May the precious Bodhi mind not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. 55. Om Swasti. Like the countless light rays that radiate from the ruby mountain, exquisite Amitayus, Lord of everlasting life, who captivates and one does not tire of seeing, whose essence is of infinite life, the nectar of immortality. Please instantly grant our Guru the city of stable and everlasting life. You are intelligent and skillful in upholding the traditions of Buddha, spreading the holy Dharma through explanations and practices. In order to lead disciples onto the path to liberation, you are the one who is an unequal guide. Please live a long and stable life. I request respectfully my precious and holy Guru to enjoy excellent health. I request respectfully my precious and holy Guru to live a long life. I request respectfully my precious and holy Guru that your Dharma activities spread and flourish far and wide. I request respectfully my precious and holy Guru to bless me to be never separated from you. In all my future rebirths, may I never be separated from my perfect Guru. May I enjoy the magnificent Dharma, and by completing the qualities of the stages and path, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Om Guru Vajramuni Sasana Vimukti Soha. 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 Page 40. Make way to Chin Chin Rezik. Dream make him be Wambo Jambe Yang. Ganjin Kebe Zugin Song Kapa. Lo Zang Drabe Jala So Wane. Make measure way to Jin Jin Rizik. Dream make him be Wang Bo Jambe Yang. Ganjin Kebe Zugin Song Kapa. Lo Zang Drabe Jala So Wade. Make measure way to Jin Jin Rezik. Dream make him be Wang Bo Jambe Yang. Ganjin Gebe Zugin Song Kapa. Lo Zang Drabe Jala So Wande. Om Benza Sato Samaya Manupalaya. Benza Sato Tenoba Dita Drido Mebawa. Suto Kayo Mebawa. Subo Kayo Mebawa. Anurado Mebawa. Sawa Zede Mebrayat. Sawa Karma Zada Mezita Shri Yang Guru. Aho Bhagavan Sawa Dada Gata Benza Mamemu. Benza Bhava Maha Samaya Sato Ahumpe.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you, everyone.